Hey guys, I am Game Advisor, and today we'll be going over 10 tips to make you a better Dark and Darker player. Alrighty, first up on our list is going to be that you can actually bring a pick with you in order to mine ore. I know it's kind of silly and most of you know this, but it is something that is incredibly valuable. You can go and mine the two different types of ore that are available right now for a massive amount of gold. What you do is you get that ore, which you'll get 3 to 6 per node, and then you're going to go and you're going to sell that in the miscellaneous trade chat, or just whatever trade chat you can sell it in, and you can usually get roughly around 20 to 25 gold pieces for a ruby silver ore, and roughly around 10 to 20 pieces for a cobalt ore. This is a great way to make money early on and stock up your coffers. Number 2 is don't be afraid to take a down portal in an emergency. I see tons of players not doing this, and it is so frustrating. It is always good to take a down portal if you have no other option. Yes, you can try to get used to taking them if you want to go specifically down there and get good at it, but when you're learning, you're better off just taking a normal one. However, that may not always be available. In those cases, go ahead and take that red portal. It can easily save your life and at least give you a chance to get out with all of your stuff. Number 3 is that whenever you're fighting a Wraith or a Skeleton champion, you can stand on a staircase just below them in order to cheese it. This is actually a little bit of an exploit at the moment, so use at your own risk. Just keep in mind this will also probably be fixed, hopefully by the next alpha test. With that being said, it is incredibly useful and can be done with every single class. All you need to do is get aggro on whatever your target is, crouch down, and then crouch onto the staircase just beneath it as close to the mob as you possibly can. They have vertical swings, so for the most part, they'll be swinging over your head while you just sit there and pound damage into them. These mobs also drop above average loot, and this makes them extremely easy to take out. Number 4 is that you should be breaking pots for a lot of loot. I know it seems simple, but I've seen so many people ignore this. When you see a pot, go smack it a couple times or smack it once for most classes and it'll pop open with either some gold pieces, some silver coins, some healing potions, some bandages, whatever, some jewelry you can sell, and you will start bringing in the money. These things have way more money in them than people give credit for. This also just goes for boxes and barrels too. If you can break those, obviously rogues cannot do that currently, but regardless, you should be breaking these things open as they can have some really high-end valuable loot in them that can make you tons of bank every time you get out of a mission. To be fair, you're never gonna find a legendary in these things, but you are gonna still be making bank on them. Coming in at number 5 is that you can actually move your camera vertically or horizontally in order to manipulate the way your swings work. This will sometimes allow you to get around enemy shields or land hits that you otherwise wouldn't have. I can't stress enough how important this tip is, as landing that one extra headshot or that one extra hit overall could easily decide whether or not you win a fight. After that is a more simplistic tip for some of our newer players or just players who may not have known this existed, but you can actually go into your settings and you can make push-to-talk audio only talk to people in your party. This is nice if you like to pair up with randoms, but if you don't, you probably won't use it. Nonetheless, it's a nice feature to have. Now, number 7 is actually a fighter-specific tip, but is still relevant to most other casting classes, and that is that whenever you put down a campfire, you can regenerate your second wind ability. If it is white or above, not gray or bronze tier or rusted, whatever you want to call it, then you will be able to actually fully regenerate it in one campfire if you sit down the second it finishes. This is great as second wind is an incredibly powerful ability and will definitely change the course of fights, as I'm sure you know if you already play fighter. Regardless, just make sure that you bring a white or above campfire with you when you can, as it will allow you to have a second use of second wind. Number 8 is a way to save inventory space, and that's by bringing 1 or 2 coin purses into every run. If you're having even remotely successful runs where you're getting 10 or more gold pieces on average, it's worth bringing in a coin purse, as it will save you 1 inventory slot for every 10 additional gold pieces. This means if you bring 1 gold coin purse and you get 50 gold, you will have saved yourself 4 slots in your inventory to bring even more loot out, which means even more money. Coin purses also only cost 5 gold pieces, so you're not really risking much by bringing one in with you. Number 9 is that you should be checking out your merchants after each run, as many times they will reset their inventory, especially the Goblin Merchant. The Goblin Merchant has tons of really valuable loot that you can roll off on him. All the other merchants reset pretty regularly too, but you really want to check him because that's the only way that he resets. You can make bank off of him as well, because if you find things like necklaces, they're guaranteed to roll a little bit higher. Regardless, nonetheless, you should be checking any relevant merchants to you after every single run that you do to see if they have something you want. Alrighty, now our last tip today is going to be number 10, which is honestly kind of an obvious one, but it's one that people don't pay attention to. And that's that you should be using the target dummies in the basement to figure out how much damage you are doing before a game starts, or just use them to test out weapon swing patterns. Now, the reason this is important is because it allows you to figure out the different amounts of damage you'll do based on what hitbox you're hitting. It also allows you to practice a swing pattern so you know what order they're going to come out when you get into a game. Again, most of you know these exist, but you also don't know how much, say, 1 point of strength will affect the damage you're doing. If you want to know that, and you want to get an exact number for how much it affects the weapon you're currently using, simply hit the dummy with that weapon, with that item equipped that gives you +1 strength, and then do the same thing, but without the item that gives you +1 strength, and you'll be able to figure out how much of a damage bonus that 1 strength is contributing. This also works for spells and magic damage, and is how I actually figured out that Smite was one of the best abilities possible to be taking on a cleric, as the magic damage that Smite deals scales with all the other gear you have, so it makes it do tons of extra damage whenever you're using Smite. Now, I do have one quick bonus tip for you, and that's that if you pet Otto, you'll probably get a lucky run. I mean, maybe it's just me, but every time I pet the Doggo, we have great runs, and if I see somebody attacking it, I'm pretty sure everybody in the lobby goes after that person. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you want to see more Dark and Darker content, make sure to like and subscribe to this video, as we'll be putting out new videos constantly, especially whenever there's a playtest out or the game comes out into early access. Either way, I want to give a big shout out to our Platinum and Above channel members, which currently include Jonathan S., Caustic FPV, Gerald89, Jim Phillips, and AC Blackbird. Thank you all so much for supporting our channel, and thank you for just watching this video. I'm Game Advisor, and I'll see you on the next one.